I completed the entire story of PowerWash Simulator. This was not only a very joyous occasion for me, but also a very sad one as well. You see, I always go back to PowerWash Simulator when I just want something to play that's relaxing for me. However, with the recent update and full release of PowerWash, they added achievements to this game. Being no stranger to achievements and full completions of games, I was ready to take on the task. So over here we have a full list of my achievements, some already completed from when I completed the story mode. However, we have many uncompleted achievements to go. Because I have crippling ADHD and I have so many achievements to unlock, I decided I would start with the easiest ones first and work my way towards the more difficult ones. The first achievement I was going to tackle would be Fashionista. All I had to do was equip a new outfit, gloves, and a washer modification at the same time, and there it is. The achievement is mine. The next achievement that I set my sights on would be Powerful Pressure Purist. I had to completely clean the van using only the red nozzle. This sounds like it might be a pretty tedious task, but when you realize that I am using the very best power washer that's available in this game, we're able to make short work of the van. In under 5 minutes, I have this entire van cleaned up, and it's time to move on to the next one. The next achievement I'll be going for is Watermelon Shot. We have to go to the skate park, use our power washer, and just push the soccer ball out of its little bowl. So I went back to the title screen, scrolled down through free play, found skate park, and entered with great enthusiasm. I quickly located the bowl. I found the soccer ball, hit it with a few puffs of water. Achievement completed. This next achievement, I would have to stand on top of the penny farthing for 10 seconds straight. So I just sat there for 10 seconds straight. Achievement completed. We then turned our attention to Live by the Blade. For this achievement, we had to go to the fire helicopter, but we only had to clean the blades. This one was a bit tricky. As I was using the triple nozzle power washer here, I couldn't afford to accidentally clean anything except for the blades. So I took my time with this one. I didn't want any rogue drops of water accidentally getting on the motor or the engine and cleaning a little tiny thing that I was unaware of. But after a few swipes here and there, the fire helicopter was completed. I went back to my achievement list to see how we were doing. We were checking things off left and right. However, there was a few achievements in this list that gave me great worry. Gnome, Sweet Gnome. For this achievement, we had to go to the temple level, complete the entire level, and make sure that the gnome was on top of the temple when we complete it. Sounds pretty easy, right? Just put the gnome on a temple, clean the temple. This isn't as easy as you think. If you saw my last video, the temple took me about 6 hours straight to clean. I decided this would be the very final achievement that I would go for. Feeling a bit overwhelmed and intimidated by some of the future achievements, I decided to go back to completing some of the easiest ones first. I went for Stego Score. All we had to do was go to the playground and roll the soccer ball up the Stegosaurus. It took me a little bit to get the ball in front of the Stegosaurus, but once I did, a few zaps of water, that ball went flying up the slide, and that achievement was mine. Next, I was going to go for the achievement Gutted. All I had to do was complete the bungalow gutters first. I quickly got to work washing the gutters, making sure not to get too much of the dirt off the walls or the garage, as they could not be clean. Only the gutters must be cleaned. So I took my time, I aimed my shots, I made sure every gutter was spotless, and in the end, my achievement didn't pop. A little bit confused, but maybe I did something wrong. I went back to the achievement list and I realized complete the bungalow gutters last. Feeling a bit silly at this point, I decided I would actually read the achievements word for word so I don't make such a silly mistake going forward in the future. So I went back to the bungalow, I cleaned all the walls, I cleaned all the doors, I cleaned all the windows, I even cleaned the roof in the chimney. After everything was said and done, the entire house was clean. I had 4 gutters left to clean. I was finally gonna unlock this achievement. I got to work, I started cleaning gutter after gutter, and after it was all said and done, my achievement, it didn't unlock. At this part of my playthrough, I was really confused. I even paused my recording, watched it over to make sure I didn't make any mistakes, and from what I can tell, I didn't. Which led me to believe that this achievement might be bugged. Now, this was a very scary thought for me. If this achievement here was bugged, what happens if I start playing a level, takes me 4 hours to clean, and it ends up that achievement being bugged as well? I decided I would put this on the list of achievements that I would come back to later. Feeling a little bit disheartened at this point, but determined not to give up, I went back to doing some of the quicker and easier achievements. I decided to go with I can see clearly now. All we had to do was complete the fire truck windows, windscreen, and wing mirrors first without cleaning anything else. This took me a total of 30 seconds or so, and this achievement was mine. I decided to go for yet another easy achievement called Lantern Hunter. In the treehouse, complete all of the lanterns first. I made pretty darn quick work of the 2 lanterns at the bottom of the stairs. Then I went up in the treehouse. I found a lantern in a tree. Once I got to the 3rd floor of the treehouse, I found a bunch of lanterns around this little adobe house thing. So I did what I do, and I cleaned all the lanterns. This one actually took me a little bit longer than you would think. I cleaned all the lanterns that I could find. I was missing one, however. I went around the entire treehouse again. I checked every single lantern to make sure they were totally clean, and they were. It wasn't until I went back below the treehouse I found a sneaky lantern on a spiral staircase. Once I cleaned that one up, the achievement was mine. So I spent the next hour or two going through some of the easier achievements. I had to clean the laser beam on a fighter jet, and then I had to go to a house and clean the driveway and the walkway. Very simple stuff. After all that was done, I went back and looked over my achievement list, and I realized it was actually shrinking. I was filled with motivation at this point. This list was becoming smaller and smaller, and I was closer and closer to my final goal. I was going to go for some of the gold medal achievements. I went with the van, and we had 3 minutes to clean this entire thing. Now keep in mind, I have to use the beginner power washer for this one. I do not have access to my triple nozzle or my super power washer, so this was going to come close. I cleaned this thing as fast as I possibly could. I went over the entire thing using the yellow nozzle, too afraid to switch to any other nozzle. I didn't want to waste any seconds here, and when I got to the end, I failed by 0.09 of a second. So I did the van again. This time using the yellow nozzle to do most of the van, and then I would switch to the red nozzle to do the little finer details around the windows and the little cracks of rust around the doors. You see what I did here, right? By using the red nozzle for the windows, I was able to shave off just about 30 seconds on my time with an ending score of 2 minutes and 34 seconds, which means I got a gold medal and an achievement for it. However, we still needed 4 more gold medals for the next achievement, so I went back to the van. This time, however, our challenge is to use 15 liters of water or less. If we use more than 15 liters of water, we fail and we don't get the gold medal. So I took my time with it. I very calculatedly used my water. Every now and again, I would get a little bit crazy with it. And when I really felt like I needed to slow down, I would switch to the red nozzle and really conserve that water. After about 10 minutes of meticulously cleaning this van, making sure I use every drop of water as perfectly as I could, I completed it with over a liter of water to spare, and the gold medal was mine. With 3 more medals to go, this achievement was going to be easily mine. I went to the golf cart and I blasted it with water, did it in one shot, and I got another gold medal. Then I had to go through it again and clean it using only a certain amount of water. That was super easy too, and yet another gold medal. Now, at this point of my life, I had myself 4 gold medals, and it only took me like 30 minutes of my real life time. This was becoming easy. I had 1 more to get, so I picked the motorcycle level. It was a very small creation, and I just blasted this bad boy with water till all the dirt came off, and yet another gold medal, and it came with an achievement. At this point through my playthrough, I was feeling pretty good about things, okay? The achievement list was getting smaller and smaller, and I was able to focus my ADHD enough on my achievement list to actually start reading some of these to see what they do. Delicate excavation. Completely clean the ancient monument using only the white nozzle. With great hesitation, and even thinking about ending the entire series right here because, my goodness, this could take hours. I decided to push forward and just give it a shot. And so I began cleaning a giant hand using only the white nozzle. If you know anything about Power Washer, the white nozzle is the widest nozzle, okay? It sprays in a very wide pattern, but it does not do good at removing dirt. What stood in front of me right here was a monumental task. Not only was this going to take multiple hours, but it's just going to take multiple hours. There is no but, that's it. And so I began. I decided that the best way to tackle this giant hand would just be spray this thing with water. I was gonna coat this entire thing with water multiple times, getting off any loose debris that I could, and then I would go back and I would nitpick all the spots in a finer detail. As I cleaned this giant hand, I had a lot of time to think. I contemplated if I should quit. Should I keep going? Well, surely I've already come so far, I couldn't give up now. Then thoughts of fear came over me. What if this achievement is bugged? What if I sit here for 4 hours, do this entire thing, and it's all for nothing? I decided to push those fears down, and I continued onward. However, if I was going to do this, I was going to do this smart. I went back to my achievement list, and I found one achievement called Good Dings to Come. Now, for this achievement, we would have to clean 95% of any job without completing any task, which means I need to get that counter in the top left to say 95% without anything on this object going ding. This would be the perfect opportunity to knock out 2 achievements in one. If I could just spray this bad boy with enough water, I could clean 95% of this without anything actually being completed. And then I could go back, touch it up, and complete the hand using the white nozzle and get both achievements. And so I began. I found giant mounds of dirt on the hands, the wrists, the arms, the fingers, and the webs, and I just blasted it with water, making very sure in the top left to not let that white bar hit 0%. As time went on, some of the objects in the hand started getting very close to dinging. I started using great precision to make sure nothing would be completed, but I was kind of starting to run out of dirt here. I didn't want to clean any more on top of the hand because if I did, I risked it completing. So I took my time, I slowed down, I really thought about where I should clean, what I should clean. I found little spots of dirt here and there that I could clean up that surely wouldn't count as me completing a part of the hand. And then the time came. The hand was looking pretty darn clean. There wasn't much dirt left in this bad boy, but I was at 94%. To mess up now and have a rogue drop of water spray off and clean something on accident, I couldn't have that happen. So I climbed betwixt the man's hands, between the fingers, and I found some large spots of dirt. And I blasted him with water, and sure enough, 95%. And the achievement, it unlocked. All I had left to do here was go over the entire head once again with the white nozzle. I had to dig through the cracks of the fingers, the cracks of the wrist, the cracks of the hand, and I had to locate every little speck of dirt. This is where the majority of my playthrough has gone so far. This took me a great deal of time, upwards of 3 hours to be exact. It was tedious, it was boring, but with 100% right on the horizon, there was no way I could quit right now. So I pushed forward. I got a ding here, I got a ding there, and before you knew it, 100%, and the achievement, it unlocked. I decided to kick it back a notch. That took a lot out of me, and I was quickly running out of power washing fuel. So I went to the ancient statue to get the bucket list achievement. All we had to do was knock over 4 buckets. Super easy, I found them all, and that achievement, that was mine. With my achievement list growing smaller and smaller, the temple achievement seemed to grow bigger and bigger. It was like this constant weight pressing down on my heart, my brain, causing me great fatigue and stress. So I did what any normal man would do. I brushed it off, stuck it deep down into my stomach, and I went to Mars. I decided there were still a lot of easy achievements I could go for. There's no reason to stress out over doing the biggest one right now. We'll get to that when the time comes. So I went to outer space. I found a Mars rover sitting on Mars, so I put on my yellow nozzle, I put on my power washer, and I blasted this bad boy with as much water as I wanted. It put up a little fight, but things were happening left and right. This rover was looking cleaner and cleaner about a second, and all of a sudden, before I knew it, it was over. And that achievement was mine. At this point in the video, I was already going for 5 hours. I was completely exhausted from power washing, and we hadn't even begun the most difficult achievement yet, the temple. I decided if I was going to do this, I was going to have to do this in multiple videos. So as sad as it is to end the video without getting 100% achievements, I felt a great satisfaction going back and revisiting some of the older levels that I used to have so much fun with. It was lovely going back to the house, going back to the van, trying new techniques when cleaning objects. I felt great satisfaction and pride that I was able to achieve what I have achieved today. So this concludes day 1 of my 100% achievement in PowerWash Simulator.